Hello there. This is Progressive Alternative with Victor Monjares. I'm Victor Monjares, and today or at least tonight, because I'm kind of recording this in the evening. So basically, this video is about the top or my top 25 politicians who are beautiful, according to me. I know I'm gonna probably mix up those type of words meaning there, but basically, according to me, it's the most beautiful. So what do I mean by beautiful politicians? Basically, those that use their power to help out others, those that are less fortunate, and those. So I think you can probably guess who I'm basically more going to be referring to in this list if you haven't seen all these signs up around here, so you can kind of see who, and of course the shirts that I have and the causes and the candidates that I support. So basically, that's basically my definition of using your beauty as a tool to really captivate the audience, to just let them know that you care about them, even though you have those type of attractive features that you have, and you shouldn't be hanging around with common folk. No, that's that's why you should be rich and don't care about them. But instead, you use that. You emasculate this whole persona to just uplift those that are not as fortunate as you. Or maybe you are part of that and unfortunate and you rise above that. That's always very impressive to really do that. And in politics, that's actually starting to be a thing. Thank you. Thank you, Year of the Women, for that. So let me list off three. Basically, honorable mentions. Kristen Gillibrand. She's the United States Senator currently representing Arizona, and she used to be a former congressional representative somewhere like it's southeast of Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. Quite a quality look. Oh God, I remember when she was actually sworn in, and it's like she's wearing white, and it's sweet. Jesus, she's quite gorgeous. Sweet booty. Again, priorities. Hopefully, it's the agenda and every policy that you're advocating for them and that you're using your actions and then basically attractiveness. That's something kind of like about me, and I make this video. I was kind of really inspired by someone from Milwaukee who basically said that AOC is like the hottest girl out there and she's like hella hot, and it's like, but I said, yeah, she's beautiful, don't worry, she'll actually be on this list. Another honorable mention would be Beto O'Rourke. I do see quite with both males and females. Of course, my list is basically going to be a bunch of females because, of course, I'm a dude. I'm heterosexual. I'm not bisexual. I'm not homosexual, though I do support the LGBT community out there. And basically, there we go. It's like it's my list, so you can call me a sexist if you want, but I'm supporting all of this, so you would be wrong. So, next one would be with Beto. Actually, why am I going to skip Beto? He made such a huge impact in Texas and able to really commute himself with this handsome persona that's just quite thrilling, and just a lot of women were quite undertaking with him with so much love and so much enthusiasm in a race, in a state that was mostly conservative and just thought to have never really been out there for basically progressives such as us to really make a difference out there. But of course, changing demographics does help out a lot. And having a charismatic leader like Beto is quite proficient. Unfortunately, you can't replicate that easily in a presidential campaign, and it kind of fell for him. And it's kind of sad because one of my friends who lives up in Michigan really loves him, and she was devastated. But now she's still in the game, or at least going to vote. And I just had that persona with him, quite lovely. And there we go. And then last one would be with Carly B. Carly B. I know she's not a politician. She's not doing any of that stuff, though she has said she wanted to go back to college and look up some law stuff or study up on her laws and everything else. Maybe even get a political degree in science, political science. Graduated with that. Stingers up. Please come to Sacramento State, Carly. She's 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 never gonna watch this video anyway. Although if she actually does run for the congressional or a congressional seat that she proclaimed, she would have to go as her legal name on the ballot, and her name is like let's see if I can actually read this or actually pronounce it right. Belaneses Marninez Almanziar. Yeah, I guess Carly B. Yeah, we'll call her that. I got that off from both Wikipedia and some other sources as well, and they were quite consistent with that name. So, but, she already has the right idea about using her platform, trying to promote social justice issues, and, of course, supporting Bernie Sanders. Really goes a good way, at least with me. So, let's start off the list. Number 25, Deb Haaland. She's the congressional representative from New Mexico, the first Native American from New Mexico to actually be elected and represent that house. There was Shari Davis, who was from Kansas. She joins her among the Native Americans who have been, or at least women, from Native American tribes to actually really make a difference. And from what I'm hearing, what I'm looking at her press conferences, she has been quite firm. She's been also advocating to make sure that indigenous women who have been sexually assaulted or gone missing from their basically federally protected lands that could basically have a mix-up, have better resources at that and combat that. And that's just something very adoring. She also supports Elizabeth Warren. Don't worry, she's actually in this list. And pretty sooner than you think. Lauren Underwood would be number 24. She's a congressional representative in Illinois. She basically defeated like 8-year incumbent, if I'm not mistaken, and really make a huge impact as someone who is standing up for women's rights, such as Planned Parenthood, making sure that it's comprehensible. Sorry, English is my best language, apparently. And so Lauren is just quite out there. She hasn't exactly earned enough complete trust for me, but she just has this eloquency, strive for her, that confidence, that willingness to actually be a little bit bolder, but she can definitely work on that. And in a state like Illinois, that's always gonna be tough, because from what I hear from my friends in Illinois, the political game is quite hard. And Elizabeth Warren is the next one, number 23. The presidential candidate is quite making a charismatic appeal to so many people out there, and just making a difference of just letting them know about the banking regulations that need to be reformed. And even during the Obama years, where Obama administration, where she wanted to make sure that there were thresholds in place, especially after the 2008 English recession there, that whole crash, and she basically is working on that. As a United States Senator, she's doing everything she can in that whole impeachment trial, though I call it a conviction trial. I don't know why they call that. He's been impeached. Even if Trump is found to be acquitted, he's still basically impeached. He's still going to have it. He's going to be in the record books. And it's not a very long one. So, and so she's making strides to that. As a presidential candidate, again, she's at this moment my second choice. And she's kind of just losing her steam. Can't really be that much more unique. We'll get to why it was basically more better. And of course, number one, or at least higher up in the list. Number one on my ranking choice voting for the presidential candidates. Next one would be Abdul El Sayed. Abdul El Sayed, he ran for the governor of of Michigan. I got to meet him actually about a year and a quarter ago up in Michigan. He was just basically going up there with that charisma, that shoulder strength, and just really in chest out, eloquently confident to say to the students of the March for Life, or at least the March for Our Lives. There's two differences there. And if you know what they are, you probably will get it with your whole search engines, and basically just telling them we have to keep making sure that the people that we elected do keep their word and they're honest with themselves. And he has this whole organization called Southpaw organization. Drop in a few little dollars there. Basically working to get progressive candidates. And apparently it's a boxing stance. I'm not a big boxing fan, though I do catch up here on the gist here and there. I'm like, oh yeah, it's Mickey from Buffalo. What about, are you sure it wasn't Mr. Estevan from Idaho? It was a line from, it wasn't Airplane, it was, the police squad, and the files of police squad, or something like that, of that extent. Leslie Nelson was in that. It's like, that's what I thought of was Southpaw for some reason. Not the movie Southpaw, though it was real, though it kind of didn't really leave was a good taste of redemption there. Anyway, just an amazing person now. Got to shake his hand, got to meet Abdul El Sayed, and just really be quite a treat. And it was quite meaningful there. And that's just like, that's the beauty of life. He's Muslim too, as he proclaims that he practices that religion, and there is some bigotry there in that state, as I saw during my travels in Michigan. By God. Though he would lose to Gretchen Whitmer, and he's basically still working to this day to making sure that Gretchen, who is a Democrat, and the Attorney General and the Secretary of State, who are both Democratic, the Attorney General, she might actually be on this list. I wonder if she is. So, next one up in the list, Marie Newman. She's number 21, the Illinois person now from... she's running for the congressional seat against Dan Limbinski. She already faced him off once, and apparently she got within about 2% of the vote. Basically supports a lot of the women rights there, reproductive justice, and especially the LGBT community, which apparently Dan Limbinski, who's a registered Democrat, didn't vote for the Equality Act. Nancy, you keep supporting this dude, and sometimes I just wonder if you actually really ever talk to him and just say, hey, maybe it's time to hang it up, because this isn't the Democratic Party that you used to support. And in Illinois, which is supposed to be a blue state, it's like, why? But Marie Newman, just eloquently, good hair formation, kind of reminds you of Marsha from, when she basically tried when she tried O.J. Simpson for those murders, and like there was that whole criticism. I think it's quite marvelous for Marie Newman, and that's a good challenge, and very proud of her. So going to help her out too. A lot of these women I'm still helping out here and there. I'm not, of course, the richest person here. Otherwise, why would I be living in these circumstances here? So, it would be, next up in the list would be number 20, Rashid Tlaib. She basically is the Democratic, or at least the congressional representative from the state of Michigan, who's Democratic. I got to keep making sure you know that. And, time to impeach the motherfucker, and making sure that he is held accountable. And she's charismatic on that. Again, the congressional district that she lives in is skewed. And again, we want to fix up those gerrymandered districts, because, you kind of need some accountability. Because if you don't have a, fair playing field there's less room for an accountability for those who are in power. even for the best of people there, they kind of need to work on keep working on the honesty, keep it there, so that way that at least you can spend some time there. Not saying that Rashid is not spending time with that. I'm not saying that. She actually did do. She called out the presidential candidates and asked them if they would like to come to her place, basically her community, and see what's happening. And the only one who did that was Bernie, basically. Yeah, it's just that's why she endorsed him, and that's why she's quite eloquent, and she's just I know she's not everybody's cup of tea, but she is quite a fighter in the Palestinian rights, and being unique and being quite more outstanding to that community and going all around the world is quite important. So just a good little plug for the Palestinians and helping them out with those human rights. I'm going to expect a lot of people who think I'm a terrorist now. Oh, hey, because of this. So, next, it would be Sarah Smith, number 19. She was a congressional candidate. I think she might not be running because I haven't seen her name pop up in the Ballotpedia exposure there. But the last time she ran against an incumbent, I believe by the name of Robert Smith. And he was apparently he was always so voting for the military-industrial complex, not really questioning why they need that money or how they're going to use that money. And then Sarah Smith stepped up and just kept challenging him on that whenever she got the chance to, and really raised that issue. And she's quite pushing for that whole mental illness, because she revealed that she also had some anxiety attacks or whatnot. Follow her Twitter account. She's quite marvelous in that, and she's spunky, she's confident, and well adequate, or at least well responsive, and she's quite a sweet girl. She's an amazing girl that actually knows her stuff and really knows her community, was able to get that incumbent, who is still the congressional representative up there in the state of Washington, to start to question the military-industrial complex and vote to maybe not expand on much on that, and maybe actually do the proper channels of declaring war. Please. Not like they're ever going to watch this anyway. Jessica Cicero, she's number 18. She's running for the Democratic, or at least in the Democratic primary of that congressional seat in the state of Texas, against Henry Kavar, who's dubbed Trump's favorite Democrat. Apparently, one of my I went up to a local recycling place. And most all the workers there are Trump supporters, and so they kind of get annoyed with my support of Bernie, Elizabeth, and of course Tulsi, because I have it in the car that I drive in, and so basically, but they do call me their favorite Democrats, and of course, back to Henry Cavill. Apparently he's kind of is trying to advocate to say, we shouldn't be going with this impeachment. Maybe we should just censor him. Is that going to really stop him? Really? Anyway, and of course you represented a community where it's mostly Hispanics and mostly immigrants as well. Maybe you can at least put up a little bit more of a fight for your community, Henry, and have this elegantly, very modest but still fierce, beautiful woman like Jessica Ciceranos to really step up and say, you really need to stop letting big oil money take over your mind of frame. And I get that this is Texas, the big oil state with football and everything else like that, but is it really worth it with all that human life and all what we promise as Americans? It's just something that she's quite eloquently. Her hair is lovely. Her hair, everything, just confidence, the looks, and just the powness that she has. She's an underdog. heard of some, or at least saw a couple of her videos and read some her tweets as well. And it's like, and like another woman from Texas who's also challenging a very strong incumbent. I'll get to her later. Ruth Buffalo, number 17. Ruth Buffalo, who is a state legislator in the state of North Dakota. Got to actually see a little bit of the North Dakota state capitol. It was quite eloquent. I don't think I actually saw her up there, but I have seen a little bit of tribes and a little bit of activity, especially when they had that pipeline of the XL pipeline protest there. And Ruth has been, and she continues to send me postcards. I guess she sends that to every one of her supporters. Like, I'm not really that special, of course. I'm not the only one, but or at least I know I'm special. I'm just not the only one, of course. So Ruth Buffalo has just been quite steady and firm in her beliefs, even though she's still young and has so much potential to really make a difference in the state of North Dakota. And it's just quite amazingly baffling with, or at least amazingly well confident with the infrastructure, and really making sure that she continues to make sure that her Native American tribes and their reservations have better access to voting procedures there. That's what she stands for. And just like Johanna Hayes, coming in at number 16, she's a former school teacher. I guess she got like Teacher of the Year in the entire country, and got to hear her on BET about canceling school debt that was basically introduced by another woman that's later on this list, Ilhan Omar, about canceling school and student debt from those college universities, making sure that it profits the economy for everybody around the country. And Johanna just really, she was just like an underdog in that congressional race. Apparently one of that woman, I think her name was like Elizabeth Eastel, that basically resigned over some either a plagiarism or she did something improper with one of her campaign staffers. And it's like, but Johanna there has been quite more consistent and just really optimistic about the future of Connecticut. She represents a community in Connecticut, if I didn't refer to that, as a congressional representative. And Johanna Hayes, just good stuff to talk to her about, and just education's her main platform. Of course, she's the teacher, the main teacher. Number 15, Samina Hernandez. She's running for that United States Senate seat in Texas this year. She actually ran for the seat 2 years ago against Beto O'Rourke. Unfortunately, as much as charisma as she brought along and was able to really go almost all of the state just like Beto, unfortunately Beto got more treatment because he broadcast more on Facebook Live, and so Samina didn't really have those tools, and she basically got lost in that whole mud puddle there. And it's like, but she's doing it again, not being discouraged, not accepting oil money, which is apparently taboo in the great state of Texas. No offense, but just like, it's for your health. You don't want to keep drilling and affecting your drinking waters. Anyway, it's just Samina Hernandez, just, my goodness. I get it. She's big. I get that, but that's being strong. I look at it as being strong because she actually has value. She has a conviction to just, even though there are basically these other women that are running ahead of her who are thin, who are just so eloquently making a stance with them boys out there. And it's like, but Samina is keeping her convictions and being strong in that, and actually having a chance in that race. To be fair, that poll that I did see where she's kind of like in second place, and there's a lot of people undecided in that race. It was like about 6 months ago, so I gotta see if they have any updates on that. So Samina just really just eloquently, and have so much confidence in her, just like the next United States Senate candidate running for a seat, this time in West Virginia, Polly Jean Swearingen. Polly Jean Swearingen, you may have seen her in Tear Down the House. She rode her ATV quad, and now apparently she's a grandmother too. From the tweets that I've seen from her, as like trying to help her community that's mostly rural, and what was once thought of that Democratic Party can't compete there. She's making the case for that, and so is Bernie too, because he won there back in 2016 in the primaries, of course, but you set up someone who is clearly better, someone who actually knows what West Virginia people need, especially they need to move away from coal that affects their lives, and even if they still want to work in there, they could transition to green energy jobs and actually be paid what they have done for their services, because apparently there's that one giant coal company CEO that's just like being a dickweed and not paying the workers there, and blaming all those injuries on either acts of God when it was actually faulty in his system. Just being intimidating. But Pauline Jean Swearingen just really bringing the more factors in there than Richard Ojeda. No offense to Richard Ojeda, but being way too negative on that trail, that campaign trail to be president, even though you couldn't actually get elected to the state legislature, was kind of way too much of a leap of faith there. Maybe not well thought out. And still respect the dude. Even Pauline Jean's like really just like letting him know that you could have done so much better for the people of West Virginia. And you gotta stay active in your community. And Pauline Jean, Grace, she's strong, just like Samina Hernandez. Just a fantastic eloquency of her determination through even all the intimidation. Number 13, Dominica Rohim. She's a state legislator from the state of Virginia. You may remember her as the transgendered woman, or basically she used to be a dude, now she's a woman, that is really making gains there. And she defeated someone who was a transphobic and homophobic incumbent. And even though she basically obviously we go against those hateful speeches, those homophobic, we don't like discrimination. Even then, she basically says that she'll listen to him because he's still part of the constituency in that community. I'm not so sure if that incumbent actually still lives there now, but it would be interesting to see if that actually did held up, that he still goes to the town hall meetings and basically says, what are the concerns of the community? Please don't be hateful towards the LGBT community, dude. Please don't. It's not their faults that there's things that need to be improved in that community. And right now, Danica, which I think would be the proper way to say it, but I think it's like Dominica. And just working on the infrastructure bill, the equality bill, and making sure that the unnecessary gun violence goes down. Common sense. It's about that. Hopefully my friends in Virginia were okay after that whole gun rally that apparently they had over Martin Luther King's Jr. birthday. And I was really concerned about that. So but Dominica, she has a cool future right ahead of her as well. She's just quite splendidly well Grace as well. Number 12, Audrey Denny. Don't worry, I'm not taking my shirt off. This isn't a tea show. Looking's for free. Touching's going to cost you. Anyway, Audrey Denny, she has been just an amazing candidate. Ran the last time around, 2018, now running this year. And she just has this persona that when she messes up, like as you can notice, I'm messing up as well. She's just like really admits it a lot and does it so conveniently wonderful. And every time I go into a room, I know there's a little bit of a bias here because she's running a seat that's all the way above north of the north state of California, right above us, of where I live in, and And basically, she's just really doing a lot of good things. Really helped out a lot in that camp when they had the campfire up there in Paradise. Really letting people know how they can help them out, the people that lost their homes, and basically seeking shelter. And it was just, I know a lot of other people basically helped out in those efforts too, but just seeing Audrey basically being almost front and center in that whole operation, and just really giving the confidence that, yeah, she cares about her state. And the incumbent, Mr. Lamalfa, clearly doesn't seem any interested than just being, okay, it's sad and it's this great sad and fear. Our thoughts and prayers are with them, because that's all he can do. And Audrey just, whew, every time I go into the room or she steps into a room and I'm there, so much positive. My heart is beating so well and delightful. And it's like, I do kind of recognize one of the ladies who's also running for a congressional seat. Notice quite good booty cheeks. Yeah. Yeah. But just good country girl there, too. It's like she used to participate in FFA, so that's Future Farmers of America. And, endurance. Country strong. Roar! I live out in the country, so I can say that. Don't deny me that. Number 11, Kristen Gillibrand. She ran for the United States presidency, and it was quite baffling. She wasn't able to gain that much ground. They say that she wasn't able to, convince people, especially the Democratic Party, for basically pushing a former United States senator out of congressional, or the United States Senate, getting him to resign because of some lewd comments. It was basically pictures of him doing unnecessary stuff. I thought it was appropriate. I thought that maybe you need to talk to him. And even though apparently in his books, by the way, and Al Franken, that's the dude, is like, yeah, he always has to be reminded a lot about what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and that's fine. But to a certain amount, you gotta just adapt, dude. And Kristen was right to just call him out on that. I think, just basically holding him accountable, getting him to resign was, it's a good cause, because at least we're doing a lot more than what the Republicans were doing with, the Republican Party was doing with Mr. Roy Moore, who's basically has a questionable few things with underage girls, because apparently they like to accuse us of doing pedophilia stuff, which, oh, look, in the mirror, look, I guess, oh, wait, it's just me being baffling. But Kristen Gillibrand, I look at her and she's quite astounding. I don't know why, as a United States Senator of New York who was working on that whole passage of trying to get the Military Improvement Justice Act, she didn't bring that up. I don't know why she didn't. That was kind of like her signature thing signature issues there, about making sure that, right now we have a kind of a sexual predator in the White House. Sorry to my Trump friends out there, Trump supporting friends out there, but he kind of is, and he brags about it. And Kristen, but she's doing pretty well as a United States Senator. Keep doing it. Hey, maybe you should get a job at the military department to basically better have accountability for those sexual assaults that happen in college campuses and the military, and have better accountability there. It's like, we honor our veterans. Well, why won't you honor them by giving them a better process handling sexual assault? That's a issue that basically we have to encounter about the whole military injustice, or at least the sexual assault. That, oh yeah, we can accept drugs, we can accept bad words, we can accept every violence, so much of it, yet we can't show a nipple slip. We can't talk about vagina, which, if you notice, it's right over here. I got a good shirt at the convention. So, number 10, Paulette Jordan. Was a candidate running for the governor of Idaho. Got to hear a little bit of her got to hear her videos a lot, and she's still active on Facebook. She's pretty well proficient. Just when she rode on that horse for her introduction video, my goodness, it's just love. so much love. Just like Audrey Denny, basically it's like I want to think of that one good song about I've been waiting for a girl like you. I've been waiting. Sorry, I'm not gonna sing too much. And just she has the eloquency and just knows how to talk to people on both sides of the aisles with as much flash like another person that's later on this list. And my goodness, I the future of Idaho looks amazing as long as she keeps doing that. She's Native American as well, and just basically Pocahontas type looks, which apparently is quite different from the Fable books, the Disney version, unfortunately. Don't worry. It's like there is another Pocahontas type of leader there. No, not Mrs. Warren. No, Mr. Drumpf, we're not discussing it like that. Just being well at tone with nature. And it's like, that's what's amazing about Paulette Jordan. Still keeping it real. Still basically conveying that message about, yeah, this is why you left California. But you're here in Idaho, or at least do a lot more proficiency and accountability, and we love our nature here. She's not the governor, unfortunately, but she gave it a very good run. Number 9, Amy Klobuchar. Yes, that one. You may have remembered from my 10 best women of Black Clover that number 1 was Mariola, and basically she reminds me of Amy Klobuchar. The beauty, the grace. I know. How is it that Amy Klobuchar is beautiful? It's like, or like she's not hot, she's not attractive. Well, first of all, she's straight on fire like Mariola. And but again, I'm saying beautiful. What is she using her power for? She's still pretty much keeping in tone with Minnesota. And when she actually announced her presidency and doing it during that snow, she is just well tough. And I love women who are tough, strong, and able to hold their own, and just knowing their purpose in the world and making a difference in that. And I would love to see her as my vice president should this man, Mr. Bernie Sanders, become the president. And that'll just be like an interesting exchange, just like Asta and Mariola. It's like, yeah, I definitely do believe that we can work it out with these people. And it's like Mariola's just about to punch him. It's like no, that's not possible. Stop thinking fantasy. And it's just that whole curriculum of just being pragmatic, but at least we're still on the same side and we can agree on stuff. And that's what Amy Klobuchar is just really bringing on to that. Yeah, I'm kind of a weird guy. Anyway, I think we established that. Number 8, Bernie Sanders. Handsome, eloquently, confident, consistent throughout the years as learning more about the political process and just knowing everything else that this world needs to improve on, and concerned about everywhere, not even just in the Jewish community. Yes, he is Jewish, but even admitted he's more spiritual about that. But outside of that, the Muslims, LGBT, people with disabilities, African American, Asian Americans, basically everyone out there that's basically has to be taken care of, and just taking on the military-industrial complex, because we know it affects both the Democratic and Republican parties. And that is just quite handsome. I remember just really saying this on a Facebook, and I thought another woman who was running, it was Audrey Denny. It's like, she's very beautiful. And it's like, why do you only use the attractiveness, looks, words for women? It's like, yeah, I think Bernie's handsome. And when I went to one of his rallies that he had in Chico, this was in 2016, like, there were a lot of women that wanted to have sex with him, and it's not because they were drunk. Though I did see some bottles of champagne, or actually white wine, nearby them, so I could be mistaken. So, on that note, number 7 is Diane Neeson. She's the elected Attorney General in the state of Michigan. I got to help her out. She was part of the Southpaw organization I mentioned about Abdullah Syed. And Diane has been out front going against every other thing. You may have remembered her campaign video about just asking you the simple question about, oh yeah, who would you trust not to show you their penis? Is it the candidate who has a penis or doesn't? A candidate that doesn't have doesn't have a penis. Sorry, I mentioned a lot of penis. I did not do that smoothly. I swear I'm quite handily on that department. Ooh, 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 ooh. All right, stop making you think those thoughts, because Diane Neeson is taking on the mills that are harming puppies and other animals that are considered pets, and making sure that they're well regulated on that, helping out the elderly centers that are committing scams or fraud on vulnerable people, and making sure that there are pharmaceutical companies that are held accountable in the state of Michigan. Her power can basically only go as much, and she is still fighting for the best fights. And I am quite proud that basically knowing that my friend up there in Michigan is being taken care of by that attorney general, who can basically be a potential governor up there, maybe in about 8 years, because unfortunately I don't still like Gretchen Whitmer no matter what. She's not on this list. I have my reasons, and it's basically almost everything opposite of Diane Neeson. But if I would say that if Diane needs to actually hold Kristen accountable, I have so much confidence that she will. Sorry, a little bit of democratic socialism in my blood. So, Jana Presley, that is number 6. My goodness, when she took off her hair and showed that she was suffering from alopecia, if I'm not mistaken, I hope I said that right. She was so gorgeous. She's still beautiful, showing her truth, fighting for basically kids who are basically 16-year-olds to vote, because now they're facing the same dangers of climate change, the irresponsibility of the banking and military-industrial complex to make our planet worse, and they're going to suffer for it. So let them have the vote and choose their leaders who they believe and know that can better take care of this planet. And she's making those type of arguments. Back then, we probably would have never thought of that, but we also thought 18-year-olds couldn't vote. But we still sent them out in the military. Again, you keep saying that, oh, our brains aren't formed. Well, our brains aren't really formed until we're 23, from what I've read in some doctor journals or medical journals. Because I can read. I know I can. And Jana Presley, just showing eloquency. Yes, she supports Elizabeth Warren. Of course, you support your homegirl, Massachusetts, really having confidence and diverse community out there. I was so glad I helped her out. Not canvassing or anything, just basically money. And just making sure that the word got out there that she was running against a very long-term incumbent, similar to a girl that's upper on this list. Number 5, Tulsi Gabbard. I got to meet her once at a convention in San Diego. This was like about 3 years ago, and my goodness, she waved at me, and oh, my goodness. Yes, I get it. She's not everyone's cup of tea. She's respectful. She won't say, oh, you Republicans suck, and it's like, you're going to be with her. She's respectful. She's strifeful. She's probably not going to be our president. No, she's not. I mean, I'll still help her out a little bit, even though I didn't like that she voted present on the impeachment, but I understood why. But she kind of fall down on my rankings list. And so Tulsi's just very gracefully beautiful. My goodness, the silver streak on her hair, elegance, wisdom, proudness. And but yeah, it's just maybe my Secretary of State under a Bernie Sanders administration. I cannot imagine any of the other candidates recruiting her for that. And so, Stacey Abrams, number 4, the former state minority leader, as a state legislator for the state of Georgia. I know, I get it. She's not attractive. Again, she's beautiful. She's helping out those who are marginalized communities get the right to vote back, especially in that very hard red Southeast, making sure they have the right to vote. Coming close to actually becoming the governor of Georgia, by the way, even though they suppressed the vote there. Oh, yeah, we don't like it that you write it this way because you're black. Yeah, we know who you are, Mr. Kemp. But Stacey still being positive and still fighting that good fight of restoring the right to vote. And I love her for that. Kind of don't like it that she's not running for any of those two open seats. Or actually, one is open. The other is run by an incumbent who's not really popular in that United States Senate seat in Georgia. And hopefully maybe she reconsiders. Maybe also just a vice presidential pick, maybe under Biden or Warren. I would love to see that. Number 3, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. My goodness, her role in that documentary of Tear Down the House was just phenomenal. She was able to really sense that, oh my goodness, that is real life. You just beat like a 14-year incumbent. And just like really able to convene the whole message that everyone in that community, no matter how marginalized, no matter how much income you make or maybe don't even make, you can have an impact there. She was a bartender. She still sometimes actually does do that from the reports I've read. It's like she still goes home and does a little bit of that. Because again, in the halls of Congress, you don't get paid that much. That whole lobbying thing always seems thrilling for that alone. But AOC won't let that happen to her or anybody else, and making sure that that's the fight that is necessary, not only against those who abuse our systems like the banking industry and polluters, but also even within their own Democratic Party, and that fight and that elegantly grace. I know there are people that don't like her, so that's already calling her the next Nancy Pelosi. And it's like, no, she's so much more better than that. And yeah, as you can tell, Nancy's not on my list. She's good for wartime, but she's anything other than that to progress the country, improve it, single payer healthcare. It's like, yeah, she's not really good at that. Number 2, Nina Turner. Nina Turner. She was a former state senator from the state of Ohio. She's now currently actively with Bernie Sanders, and just my goodness, she has been marvelous. Just speaks out well, and my goodness, oh, sweet Lord! It's like every time I see her, she's just big and somewhere else around there, but I won't say that on YouTube. They will discriminate, or at least they will have a huge regulation block on that. And it's Nina Turner just has the charisma, has the eloquency, and beauty mark to really say to the people to hold with these hands, you can make a difference. Way better than Ben Carson, the other black brother that can't seem to actually misuse our tax dollars to spend on some luxury items. My goodness, it would be nice if Nina Turner would be a leader in one of those departments, like Department of Justice. Though I think I would kind of want to reserve that for that woman up there. So, and finally, number one, oh my goodness, I know this is going to be a controversial pick, and I know some of you are kind of racist against her, because she wears the turban. Yeah, Ilhan Omar. Yes, my goodness, she dances for that music video in Maroon 5, and just she has so much fun, but she also fights the good fight. She also supports Bernie Sanders as well as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's basically pushing for that canceling student debt. She represents a congressional representative from the state of Minnesota. And oh, look, another woman who's quite eloquently in the state of Minnesota, which is actually a key important race in the state of Minnesota. Potential swing state there now. And it's like, that's kind of scary, but that's to keep honest. And it's a Midwestern states that we have to keep making sure to improve the rest of the country. And Ilhan Omar just represents that. She was from a refugee from Somalia, and a war-torn country, coming here, making a difference. Actually was elected first as a state legislator, and then served about 4 years or 3 years. And then she was elected as a congressional representative, is now just making lots of influence. Yeah, Mr. Trump, we will send her back to Congress. Sorry, pun there. But otherwise, that's my list. That's what I believe. And like, sex is something we cannot ignore, but it's something we just cannot discriminate against. And my essence of beauty is so much better, or at least so much what I, no disrespect there, but I have a better idea of what beautiful is. And it's not only just it's like that. It's like, it's also that, but more importantly, this, maybe a little bit of this. Okay, time for me to stop being ridiculous. And this has been Progressive Alternative with Victor Monjaras. I'm Victor Monjaras. I'll see you next time. Have a fantastic day. Lights out, baby. Nailed it.